My name is Gladys, and the topic of our last session is behavior difficulties. You are hearing it correctly. Today, we are just going to talk about one difficulty, and soon you will understand why. In summary, we will be looking at what behavior is, where it comes from, and how we can influence it. Related to the classroom setting, of course. This will give you practical strategies to address any kind of behavior difficulty you may experience with your learners. When I mention the word behavior, I'm sure there are some examples that come to your mind. How about we start by exploring those? Here are some examples that I came up with. I think we have reminded ourselves well of what behavior can mean, right? There are a few aspects of behavior that are good to keep in mind when we try to understand it. I think the simplest way we usually describe behavior is the way you see someone conduct him or herself, or the way someone reacts to something. A lot of time, that is true. You can say someone being polite, friendly, harsh, rushed, calm, you name them or name it. Yet, it is important to remember that not all behavior is visible. I want to tell you a short story that explains this very well. Have any of you ever watched the movie Titanic? The one with the giant ship that sinks? If you did, do you remember why it sank? It was not that the ship was not built well. Something happened on the way. Some of you may remember that the Titanic hit an iceberg. You may have wondered, how does a ship just hit an iceberg? Doesn't it have a captain who saw it coming? Yes, it did. But here is the problem with icebergs. The part that you see above the water is much, much smaller than the part that is hiding under the water. Try to imagine an ice cube in a glass of soda. The largest part is actually under the surface. We could say that the same goes for behavior. What you see is only a small part of actually behavior that takes place. The rest happens under the surface. For example, the way you talk to yourself in your mind is also a form of behavior. Do you ever do that? When you drop a cup on the floor, for example, do you ever quietly tell yourself that was stupid? Or when you teach a lesson that your learners enjoy so much, do you ever tell yourself in your mind, I did a great job today? These are also forms of behavior, and children do the same thing. There might be a lot happening internally for them, and sometimes that behavior can also become problematic. We call this type of behavior that happens from within internalizing behavior. And the one you can see or hear someone do is called externalizing behavior. As a teacher, it is important to keep track of both as much as possible. It would be great if you can also think of a way forward that does not include a punishment. I like to say it is more important to focus on preventing the problematic behavior than waiting for the behavior to happen and then punish it. I hope you have learned a lot of new information and skills from the sessions, and that you will be using them in your teaching for a very long time. Please, always remember, every learner counts.